So is the difference between stratum 1 capability, stratum 2 capability, stratum 3, stratum 4 simply an incremental lengthening of time span? Or is there something different about the way these people think? One of the things that Elliott observed is that there are very distinct thinking patterns, very distinct thinking states between stratums 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, Elliott was a recovering psychologist. I say psychologist because he was academically trained in the 1930s, 1940s with Abraham Maslow, Kurt Lewin, Leon Festinger, Sigmund Freud, all those guys. But in 1948, he jettisoned psychology. He said, I'm sure you guys think it's very interesting. Go ahead and play in that sandbox over there, but it doesn't explain everything I see going on inside organizations. So I'm going to go look at some other stuff over here. Now I say recovering psychologist because he really couldn't help himself. As he began to describe these states of thinking, he had to go back into psychological literature to find some descriptors. The label that he gave to stratum 1 state of thinking was the label declarative. Now I remember that label with the following phrase: I do declare. Now, I don't have much evidence to back up what is mostly my opinion. The logic of a stratum 1 argument is mostly opinion without evidence to support it. Given a problem, stratum 1 can see the problem. They can see this solution over here or this solution over here, perhaps this solution over here. In fact, they'll try this one over here. If it doesn't work, they'll try this one over here. Trial and error as a problem-solving strategy. Stratum 2, Elliott described as a cumulative state of thinking. The ability to put things together, accumulate things together, accumulate experience together to solve problems. See, given that same problem you gave to stratum 1, stratum 2 can actually see the problem, see this solution and this solution and this solution, see a pattern between them, put them together, accumulate them together, and solve the problem. Stratum 3, Elliott described as a serial state of thinking. The first time where he observed true cause and effect. If this is the case, well then this must be the result. Cause and effect. Stratum 4 state of thinking, Elliott described as a parallel state. The ability to handle multiple serial processes at the same time. But this is more than multitasking. This is truly understanding the dependencies, the interdependencies, the contingencies, and the bottlenecks that exist between the various serial processes. What's the role of stratum 4? Those are the people who integrate our systems and subsystems together. It requires a parallel state of thinking. What happens to water at 32 degrees Fahrenheit? Changes state from a liquid to a solid. What happens to water at 34 degrees Fahrenheit? Nothing. But at 32 degrees it specifically changes state. What happens to water at 212 degrees Fahrenheit? Changes state from a liquid to a gas. What happens to water at 200 degrees Fahrenheit? Nothing. But at 212 it specifically changes state. One of the things that Elliott observed is that these transitions in states of thinking occurred at very specific temperatures, very specific time spans. Now, it's not absolutely critical that you remember these labels, but what is critical to remember is that the states of thinking between stratums 1, 2, 3, and 4 are as different as ice is to water is to steam, and that the transitions between these states of thinking occur at very specific temperatures, very specific time spans.